All right, good evening to everybody. I'm seeing people filtering in right now. Excellent. We're just going to give it another minute or so for people to log in and get settled in before we begin. Love seeing those numbers go up. It's like winning the lottery. For those filtering in here little by little, we'll get started in just another minute or less here. Just give people another chance to log on before we get into it for tonight. I think we can go ahead and get started with my little spiel here. Well, welcome everybody. The Wilmette, Glenview, and Skokie Public Libraries, in conjunction with SCORE, North Cook, and Lake County, are pleased to bring you this webinar tonight, Turning Data and Research into Business Intelligence. My name is Ryan Heldenbrand, and I'm a librarian at the Glenview Public Library. Libraries have so many resources to help small businesses with access to business librarians, as well as with tools like Data Axle, which is the database tool available through the library that you can help you dive into demographics and help you understand your current and prospective clients. Additionally, SCORE provides free, confidential mentorship with experienced mentors to help you one-on-one. Tonight, we'll be taking a deep dive into how you can utilize all of these resources to help you grow your business. But first, a few housekeeping items. I do want to mention that tonight's program will go from 6:30 to about 8 p.m. Central Time, and we have a lot of time at the end for Q&A. We're hoping for a lot of questions, so please submit those questions. You are all automatically on mute. However, please use the Q&A box to ask your questions. I'll be monitoring those throughout the evening, and then at the end of the presentation, we'll have Q&A. So please send those questions whenever you will like. I will keep track of those, so you don't need to wait until the very end to ask those questions. This session is being recorded. We will upload a link to SCORE's YouTube site within a few days, and a link and a copy of the slides will also be emailed to those registered for this event. And lastly, Data Axle reference source is available at Wilmette, Glenview, and Skokie Public Libraries, as well as many other libraries in the North Suburban Chicago region across the country as well. Libraries that don't subscribe to this service will likely have a different platform similar to it, so please ask your local librarian for more information. For tonight, we have two presenters. We have Shauna Brower is from SCORE and will be given an overview of SCORE resources available to you. And Bill Carlson is from Data Axle and will be giving us a live look at the database tool with many examples of how to use it. Before we get started, we do want to launch a quick poll, so help us understand who is watching our webinar tonight. So we're going to go ahead and launch that poll in just a moment here. Please submit your answers so we can get a live look at what everybody is, where you're coming from. So I think I need to answer it myself too. So unfortunately, I'm not allowed to cast a vote, so I do not see the results. So Shauna, do you see those?
They're coming in now, so I see people
yes.
furiously answering them. And if you can't see them, I'll read the results at the end. Give it another minute or two.
Thank you. It's useful to know where everybody's coming from, so we have a better idea how to tailor some of the things we want to talk about tonight. So our presenters would love to hear your feedback. So please take a moment to get that plugged in there.
All right, it looks like most people have answered this. So I am going to end the poll, and then you should see the results on your screen if this works smoothly. And give me 1 second. Okay, share results.
There we go.
So you can confirm that you're seeing those, correct?
I can. It looks like nearly 45% of people are thinking about starting a business, so just getting started, while 32% looking been in business for about 1 to 5 years, and 23% have been for over 5 years in business. And it looks like, if in business, how many employees do you have? It looks like most of you, the vast majority, 72%, it's just you doing it all on your own, while 26% said 2 to 10 people, and 3%, 11 to 100. And then lastly, in terms of research you're interested in, it looks like 74% of you are looking for both consumer and business data, followed by 20% for consumer data and 7% for business data. Excellent. Thank you for taking the time to fill that out. Well, you already heard our first speaker tonight, but I'll introduce her properly. Her name is Shauna Brower, who is a certified SCORE mentor with SCORE, North Cook, and Lake counties. With a background in finance and banking, Shauna has extensive experience with the behind-the-scenes aspects of running a successful business. She has a passion for uncovering the stories that financials tell about business, and in helping clients understand the value of financial forecasting so that they can gain confidence in the possibilities for the future. She'll be talking to you tonight on some important SCORE resources available to you. So I'll hand it over to Shauna.
Great. Thank you so much, Ryan. That was a wonderful introduction. I really appreciate it. We're excited that so many people are here tonight. I want to go over a little bit what to expect. You just met Ryan. Ryan is a librarian at oh gosh, I forgot, Glenview, I think already. Library, and he gave you a little bit about libraries and the tools and resources. Personally, I think business librarians in particular are underutilized, and so please, if you're not already checking in with your librarian, use them as a resource. I'm going to talk to you today about why data and research is important. You showed up, you signed up, so you probably know the answer to this, but I really want to home in on that one and talk more about that, as well as I'm going to point you in the direction of some really good SCORE resources to get you started. I'm only going to take about 10-15 minutes of your time, and then I am going to turn over to Bill Carlson. Bill is with Data Axle, which again is this database tool, really powerful. He is going to go into the system and give us some live examples. And that last poll question about why, what everybody is looking for, data, consumer versus business, that is very helpful as he thinks about how he's going to do that part of the presentation. As I just want to reiterate what Brian mentioned. If your library has this, that's awesome. Talk to them. If they do not have this, still listen in, because how we go about looking for the data and what is possible would be something that you can talk to your local business librarian about. And then we'll close out tonight with a Q&A. Ryan will come back. I'll be back. Bill will be there as well. So again, another plug for adding in those questions in the Q&A. All right, just to get started, SCORE. Many of you probably already know about SCORE, but I want to reiterate a few things. We're powered by the Small Business Administration. We've been around since 1964. And my chapter, which is the North Cook and Lake counties in Illinois, has about 70 plus mentors who work with clients one-on-one. Nationwide, in this land of Zoom meetings and internet connectivity, we've got over 10,000 mentors. So no excuses here for you not to find somebody that resonates with you. There's 70 people locally. If you are local, you might be from outside of this area, but there's 10,000 mentors nationwide. I would encourage you to really look into that. On top of the mentor piece, which I really want to push tonight, but there's all sorts of other tools. There's webinars like this one. There's recorded webinars. There's white papers. There's blog articles. So many resources. And in this land of data and research that we're talking about today, that's important. Now, I'm starting out on a little bit of a downer here, unfortunately, but I really want to emphasize why data and research is important. And one of the things that we see consistently is that, unfortunately, some small businesses fail. And the top two reasons that we have seen, or, this survey was done to see why small businesses fail, the biggest one is there's no market need. You have a great idea, a great product, a great service, but nobody wants to buy it. This is where research, this is where data comes into play. You need to figure that out before you get started or midstream so that you can course correct there. Second biggest reason, running out of cash. In my intro, Ryan mentioned that, I'm a financial person by trade. So that is really near and dear to my heart. So between those top two reasons, and honestly, everything on this page here, data, research, planning, strategic planning, all of those are so important. All right, again, data and research, so important. I'm going to drill this into you in so many different ways, but I thought this was interesting. This is a relatively recent news blip that came out in the last couple of weeks, and you may have seen an article about this. But what this graph is showing is if you look at the y-axis, the vertical axis, these are all the different social media platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, etc. On the x-axis is the percentage of adults who say they use these. And then each of these circles here and the different colors that you can see are the different kind of age demographics. So just to read this, I want to make sure you can read this graph properly before I get into why I'm actually showing this to you. There is a reason. I'll hang in there. But the way to read this would be, okay, 65 plus is this dark blue circle. So if you were to look at, let's say Snapchat, for example, Snapchat, 5% of their customers are in that 65 and up age bracket. Whereas this light purple, that 18 to 29, is about 70%, 65, 70% of their customers use this. So that's how to read this graph. Now, why am I telling you this? Two big reasons. One is, if you were one of these social media platforms, this would be the type of information, one piece of information, one piece of data that you would want to know. You'd want to know, okay, let's say LinkedIn, for example. LinkedIn, over 65 age bracket, again, 15%, not big. If I'm LinkedIn and I really wanted that over 65 age bracket or had spent a lot of money marketing to this over 65 age bracket, I'd be concerned that I'm only reaching about 15%. If I'm LinkedIn and I'm thinking, yeah, that's what I expected, that's good. So looking at yourself compared to what you expect, that's one piece of the data. Does the data line up with what I thought would happen? The other thing would be compared to somebody else, compared to, let's say, Instagram. Instagram, again, 65 plus, I'm picking on them tonight, but 65 plus is, I don't know, 15, 18%. And then kind of staggered out where the 18 to 29-year-olds are almost 80%. That may be fine. That may make sense to you. That may make sense to me as Instagram. However, if I was to say, oh, you know what, I thought I was closer to what Facebook was doing, or I was in line with WhatsApp, that's where the comparison with another company comes into play. So those two topics, how do I compare to what I was expecting of my own company? How do I compare to what my competitors are doing? That's the data and the research piece of this. Now, for you in particular, I know you don't represent these social media companies, but what you can do with this data is look at this and say, okay, my ideal client is at 65 plus. Again, I'm picking on them. You know what? They're mostly on YouTube. So if you're spending money to market to them, or you're trying to reach them through LinkedIn or Snapchat or something like that, and you're not, this might be why. So a lot of different ways to look at this. I just want to throw that out there. Data, research, look at it. This is so important. All right. Another thing I want to talk about, this is the kind of the second big topic I want to talk about, is the business model canvas. Some of you may have already heard about this, may have already done a lot of research in this and know this. I am only going to talk about this briefly, so this will be a good review. Some of you may have not ever heard of this before. This is going to be a good introduction. So I don't want to, I want to be very clear that this is just a very surface level explanation of this, but I think this also, emphasizes the point that data and research are important. So the business model canvas is really a visual chart. This chart on the top right-hand side, which I'll show you a bigger version of it in the next slide, but it's really 9 rectangles. And Between those 9 rectangles, when you answer these questions about your business, you find out 3 things, or you're trying to emphasize or figure out 3 things, 3 big questions. Do your customers want what you're offering? Can you build it? Can you make it? Can you provide it? And can you make money at it? So it really simplifies everything down to those 3 questions. Is somebody going to buy it? Can I actually do it? And can I make money at it? And I'm going to go a little bit more detail on that in a minute, but I do want to give credit where credit is due. This is not a score creation. This is actually created by this gentleman whose picture is on the right there, Alexander Osterwalder. And it is definitely a score tool that we utilize quite a bit because it's got a great structure. There are tons of articles, tons of analysis, tons of books, lots of information about this. So again, I'm going to give you kind of the high level, but I would encourage you to look deeper into this. Here are the 9 categories. So just to read them kind of straight down: value proposition, customer segments, channels, customer relationships, revenue streams, etc. I'm not going to go into these in detail, but I do want to leave you with two kind of points on that. One is, I mentioned there's a lot of good resources on this very topic. We do have one of my colleagues, Chris Banakis, actually did a presentation on this recently for us. There's a link to his presentation, goes into it in much more detail, much more eloquently than I will here. So there's a link to that, but also actually another colleague of mine just today gave me this tip, which is really a Google search tip or a whatever browser, whatever internet browser that you use. If you actually include the terms in this example, for example, I was to type into Google, search the site score.org for business model canvas. So you add all that extra details, not just business model canvas like I would typically do in a Google search, but search the site score.org for business model canvas, you immediately get much more targeted results. So that will save you many drop-down boxes that you're going to go through on any website to get to where you need to go. Just a handy Google tip or a search tip for you there. Okay, so this is that 9 boxes again. I want to talk a little bit about each box because I think Bill in particular will probably really appreciate all of the ways data could impact here, or data can be used, research can be used here. So in this category, really quickly, you would start in box 1. What is your value proposition? What do you do? I'm a finance person. So let's say, hypothetically, I want to start a business about financial education. Financial education, very near and dear to my heart. I want to start doing that as a business. So what do I do? And then you go straight to that category 2. Who is the customer segment that I'm going to target? Who do I help? Am I going to target people, just on the cusp of entering retirement? Am I going to target 20-somethings who are starting out? Who do I think my customer is? Again, this kind of goes back to that social media thing. You got to know those demographics a little bit and who you're trying to reach. Bucket number 3 is, how do you reach them? What are the distribution channels? Am I going to look for them through Instagram? Am I going to try to find them through my network? Is it all going to be word of mouth? Am I going to have a big banner? How am I going to reach them? The distribution channels. How am I going to interact with them? That's bucket 4, kind of on the top right there. How am I going to, is all of my conversations going to be one-on-one? Do I have videos? Do I have books? Do I have, am I doing everything? Do I have a brick and mortar location? Am I having people come to my office? How is that going to look? Going down to number 5, which is, one of my favorites, how are you going to make money at this? How am I really going to monetize this? And, does that make sense for the time and effort I'm putting into it? How does that make sense? Going up to number 6, the key resources. What do you need? What do I need to do this? Do I need, I need a laptop. Do I need a physical location? Do I need resources like books or things like that? Going up to number 7, how am I going to do it? What are some of the key activities that I'm going to do? Am I going to, again, do this one-on-one? What are some of the things I'm going to do there? Number 8, key partners. referral sources, other people that might be able to help me and I help them. Are they going to be, who do you need? Who do you need? I would probably need a strong IT person because that's not my area of expertise, things like that. And then number 9 at the bottom is what is it going to cost? So that's when you think about this, and I know I ran through that really quickly. I didn't want to give too much. I wanted to leave you with a little taste of this or a reminder of this. But really what this comes back to is what I started with. It's that intersection of, do they actually want it? And these, 4 or 5 buckets cover that. Can you build it? That comes down to, am I able to provide that? And then that bottom 2 buckets, the intersection of those, can you actually make money at that? And I think pretty much I can see Bill, and I can see the wheels turning in his head, because pretty much every one of these comes back down to, if you do some data analysis and research and really looking at it, it can help you answer all of or most of these questions and get you on the right path there. All right, so resources. I mentioned this top one already, and I mentioned that SCORE has got tons of resources, almost could be overwhelming at points. So I really wanted to talk about, here's some key ones. I had to restrain myself because I could have kept going and going and going, but this top one here is this webinar that I just mentioned. Again, there are many resources on the Business Model Canvas. I think this is a great one. Here's a link to it, and you can find it on our website. I think anybody whether you're just starting out or you've already started and you want to make sure you're covering all your bases, this is a great place to start to understand your own business. Second one, bear with me on this one because I'm going to explain it a little bit more, but we do have this webinar. We have a recording of this webinar. It's about AI and strategies for business success. So we have a recording out there. We are also going to be doing it again later this month. So you may have seen an invitation come through already today, but you will see it definitely before the end of the month. One of my colleagues, Peggy Eastwood, is putting this on, and she's phenomenal. And one of the reasons I really love this webinar is not because it's not a typical AI webinar. She really talks about what you want to use it for and how to use it. So it doesn't matter if you're using ChatGPT or Bard or whatever version you have. She's not really talking about the keystrokes as much as what can you use it for? And this is another research tool. So if you are struggling to get started on this business model canvas and think about any of these categories, she will talk through some examples of how to structure a prompt or a question to put into one of these to help you move along there. So I think that's a really great one. And then, of course, 100 other great topics out there. It was hard for me to kind of narrow this down, but depending on what your specific situation is, if you have employment questions or you want a franchise or you really want to learn more about LinkedIn, or sales is always a big topic, or SEO, there are so many resources out there. Again, it can be a little overwhelming. So that's why my last bullet point here is our biggest resource is the mentors, myself, my colleagues, 10,000 of them nationwide. Find a mentor and have them help you, guide you towards the right things or some resources. Okay, and so wrapping this up, I just want to say a couple of things. Hey, I'm going to put another plug in for mentors because I think that's super important. It's a free confidential resource for you. Use it, kind of like the business librarian. Use the resources. Get yourself a leg up there. One of the things that came up was, what do clients come to SCORE for? What do they need? Or how do I know if I need a SCORE mentor, things like that? Literally, in the time it took me to type this, I came up with these, and I could probably keep going on this as well. I'm not going to read them all for you, but really that first one and the last one are kind of the big ones. Like, how do I get started? Or how do I know if my idea is a good one? Funding always comes up as usually comes up as a question. I need some help growing sales. I need some help with my clients. I'm not sure what to do here. But I think the most interesting question, I don't get this often, but I do love the question that's on the far right on the bottom, which is, When a client comes in and says, I think I know what I'm doing, but I really don't know what I don't know. Like I know my piece of it, but there's all of this other stuff as a small business that I am not sure I know about. So can you just listen to me kind of brainstorm through this and see where you can help me? Wonderful. Love that question. But there's so many reasons and ways that SCORE can help you out. Our website is here. Again, I mentioned that I am with the North Cook and Lake Counties chapter, which is in Illinois, and within the area that these libraries, these hosting libraries are in. But we have a national presence, and honestly, doesn't really matter where you are because we are virtual, can be virtual. This is just a screenshot of our website. Find a mentor, take a workshop, business planning tool, which is a little different than the one I just showed you, our YouTube, our impact. So, get started, go out here, score.org/North Chicago is our website. All right, so that was a lot of me talking about the importance of data and research, and hopefully I've teed Bill up really well. Bill is amazing. I had a chance to sit down with him for quite some time, and honestly, I'm a little bit of a data geek, and I could have gone on forever listening to him, but he works with Data Axle in their library division for, I don't know, 15 plus years. And he really is passionate about customers getting the most out of Data Axle and helping them figure out how to find what they're looking for. He is engaging, he is lively, very entertaining, and I think you're going to really enjoy this presentation. So I'm going to pop out now and let Bill pull up his screen, and then we'll go from there. Thank you, Bill.
Excellent, Sean. Thank you so much. What a nice introduction. Let me share my screen. And the first thing that you'll note, did that share, Shauna? I didn't see the
Yes.
border. Okay. Usually there's a green border. I'm not seeing the green border. Oh no. So I have pulled up the Willamette Public Library because I wanted to give you a sense of where you would go within the library, because if you're going to access the database through your public library, they've placed us within their website. So in this particular case, under Willamette, and it might be slightly different with others, they've got this research tab, so always a great place to start looking, right? You can select that. They have this online resources section, and they have the all resources. So I just went there quickly, right? And it gives you the alphabet here. Well, we're reference solutions, Data Axle reference solutions. So let me make certain that you understand that. It's possible that some libraries have put us under the letter D, as in data. Others may have us under reference solutions, which is, in fact, where you'll find us here through Willamette. So I just wanted you to understand that you might have to look a little bit for that placement, but we're there. And you can always feel free to contact us. Let me go to the database. I've already pulled this up. So this is the access that's coming through Willamette, but it's the same no matter what library you go through. Nothing's really different about it. Couple of housekeeping items. Know that we offer webinars, so you can always attend any of our webinars that we offer, typically on Mondays, Wednesdays, and every other Thursday. We have some great written information under the Learning Center. I will open this page real quick because I want to point out there's 3 different windows that you could potentially go to. It's under this Marketing and Training Material tab. And we have these flyers that you could review that would give you some really high level tips on the database and some of the tools that are available. And if you need something a bit more specific, we do offer these database overviews. I would suggest if you're interested in the US business database, you just come to this particular overview and that will get you started and through your search. We also have included these data dictionaries because we do get questions on occasion about what does this element mean or what does this data piece mean. So you could refer to the appropriate data dictionary, whether we're talking about business or household data, and probably find your answer there. And you can always contact us. You can always go through your library as well, work with that business librarian, work with Shauna if you're going to work with Shauna. She'd be able to show you where to go. So know that you have lots of support. Let me close that real quick. I would also point out, we do give you the ability. Now, you may download our information. You may also, if you would like, you could register for your own personal account, and that would allow you to save your searches and come back to them at whatever point in time you find necessary, right? So can be a great way to do that as well. And you can save any of these 10 modules and come back to that. And what's nice about that is because they do update periodically throughout each month, as you go in there, you may find that there are more records than what you originally started out with, because maybe we've added some additional records to those filters that you use to produce those results to begin with. Since I noticed we had so much interest in consumer information, I'm going to begin with our U.S. new movers and new homeowners. So if your business would require you to be able to work with consumers, these are people that have just moved into your community. So if you would like to learn about them and get in front of that audience, you might do that quarterly. You might do that every 6 months. You might just do it once a year. It just depends on how you need to be able to market to folks, right? So I'm going to select this. We're getting this information through our license agreement with the United States Postal Service's National Change of Address. No matter which module I open up, I'm always going to come to this quick search page. In this case, I'm going to go right to advanced search because there aren't a lot of filters that you would need to populate to produce what I want to show you. Additional filters, this is the back door, and you'll see this on all the modules. This is the back door into advanced search. So either one, when selected, will produce this left-hand column with these various filters. I'm going to go right down here, and I'm going to go with move distance, and I'm going to do time frame. So move distance. You may not want to know about people who've moved across town. You may prefer to know about people who are truly new to your community. So you can set this up any way you would like to. I'll set it up and I'll say, you know what? Don't show me anybody who's moved within 40 miles. So I'm not going to get any records for folks who've moved within that 40-mile mark. And I'll go out to 3,000 miles. Notice it always defers to the last 6 months, but we update this weekly. So it could be those records could have been added just last week, last month, 6 months ago, up to a year ago. So that's how long they stay in this universe, 1 year. So I'll just do the last 3 months. Shauna, I'm going to ask you to do me a favor. Give me a zip code. I'll just use zip code, for example. And notice I could include 10 zip codes here, or if I had a large group that I wanted to paste, I could do it that way as well. Give me a zip code in your area, Shauna.
Okay, 60005.
Is there a 4?
Yes.
That wasn't a trick question. You thought for a moment. Is he trying to trick me?
No. And then there's an 8. Yeah, I
Oh,
don't know how many you want.
I'll go one more. And not that 8. So I'll do those 3 zip codes, at least 40 miles out, up to 3,000 in the last 3 months. How many do I have? I have 104 individuals. Now, those individuals may have other family members, right? They might be a family of 3 or 5 or 2, whatever it might be. We know about the individual who filled out that national change of address form and turned it into the USPS. So I can look at this universe of 104, or maybe housing information is important to me. If I have a service industry, maybe I have a lawn care service. Wouldn't I love to know about those confirmed or probable homeowners? I could grab those two, skip renters because they're not going to have me mow their yard. And of this 104, how many of them are confirmed or probable homeowners? So I have 24 leads that I could start reaching out to. And let me show you what that's going to look like. Rarely are you going to see a phone number listed here because that's not something you're required to do with a national change of address. So we'll have that name, address, city, state, zip, no phone number in most cases. And in this case, they're a probable. So I have several probable. I have a confirmed there, another confirmed there, another confirmed there. So I can change this column up as well. I could change this simply to look at the distance that they may have moved from. So as you can see really quick, we've got some at 700 miles, there's 1700. So you can see how far away they've moved from. Let's go into Mike here. Everybody likes Mike. I want to be like Mike. So I have that name and address information moved from 1,150 miles away. Probable homeowner based on what we've seen so far. That could change. We get this census block group and census tract, which allows us to then overlay this estimated age along with this home value and home income. So you could use those filters. You could use these as filters in order to drive in results. Let me show you what I mean. Let's say that you have a product and you know that the majority of your customers are probably in this 100 grand plus earning scenario. So I could add in, if I wanted to do that estimated home income, and I could even add in this estimated age if that were necessary. So I could say, you know what, show me records for folks that are at least at this 100K, and we'll go all the way up to 250. So what is that going to do to my number of 24? Because we're looking at, so now I have 18 of those results left. So you can see how I can utilize these filters in order to be able to produce the kinds of records that I believe I'm going to benefit from. So great way to be able to look at those new people in your community. I have some other tools that I'll show you. When I go into those results, I want to point out this, even though I'm not going to go into it here. I have this charts tool and I have this heat map tool. You'll see me use these shortly. I want to bring that to your attention because they're available in most all of those modules that we make available, which are those 10. So I'm going to leave the US new movers, new homeowners, and I'm simply going to click on reference solutions. This will bring me right back to the home page. And let's start with those consumers. So we're obtaining this consumer/lifestyles data from a multitude of sources. I am fortunate enough that I get the opportunity to travel frequently. I constantly hear from car rental agencies, hotel chains, restaurants where I eat, airlines. How did we do? How did we do? How did we do? So we get information from surveys that people have completed. We get information from voter rolls, also from credit card processors, from memberships people have joined. I helped a gentleman just the other day who owns a fitness facility, and he was interested in identifying people that are into health, diet, and fitness. So it just depends on those types of customers, those consumers that best meet your needs as it relates to your business. So let me open this up. And again, I'm going to forego this quick search page. I don't want to look for just one person. I want to find a number of people that match a certain demographic. I have advanced search. Again, those are additional filters. I'll select advanced search. It'll open up that second page. And this is where I can begin making my selections. Most people, and I would point this out first, most people are not interested in all per household. Generally, it's one per household, one name, one address. So as you can see, I'm not going to use the name again because I don't want to find just one record, or I don't want to find the Smiths. I want to find people that match my interest as it relates to my business. The phone number information isn't used very often. Geography, a great deal. And we have another map tool that I'll introduce. I do have this estimated home value and home income, again, because we have that census data. So we're capturing that. We're updating this universe monthly. The real tool here is these lifestyle characteristics. So let me make certain that you understand this. There's a scoring mechanism. In order for records to actually be produced, when using these lifestyle selections, it's all about this scoring system. So it's 0 through 9. If somebody's a 0 in a category, maybe I mentioned the fitness, I'll just go with that. Maybe I selected just this category for fitness. So the person that's a 0 isn't going to show up in this category because they have no activity in that category. However, if they're a 9, they're definitely going to show up in this particular fitness category. We'll only show you records for people that score a 6 through a 9. So they are active in that category. Now, if I wanted this whole section, I could just put a check mark there and it would highlight all of that. And I could then grab people that are into diet, weight loss, also general health and fitness. So it just depends on how you want to combine those. You could even get as specific as telling the system, I need them, whenever it's going to show me these records, I need them to be into both diet and weight loss, general health and exercise, and fitness. And the way you do that is you come under here where it says more options, and instead of any that may match, you would drive them in based on all that match. So I'll show you that here in just a quick second. Let's just go back to, we'll use some of those zip codes. What city were those zip codes in, Shauna?
Sorry, do you want me to list the zip code again or the
Well,
name?
I was curious about the city because if it's a large enough community, I might just go with the community.
Yeah. I would go with Arlington Heights at 60004. I'm sorry, 5.
0004 or 5?
5.
Okay. And that would be all of Arlington Heights?
I think there's 2 zip codes there. You're putting me on the spot here.
That's okay. I didn't give you a heads up that I was going to.
You did not.
Darn it.
And Ryan could probably chime in with the ones that the libraries cover too. I would just go into my area.
Right. Let's just use that. So I'm going to ask the system, show me all of the records that might apply to people that are into these 3 categories. So I have a total of 3,416 that are either into diet, weight loss, health and exercise, as well as fitness. Now, if I merge these together, that number's going to be reduced, but by how much is anybody's guess until I get to 343. So these 3 are all going to be found on these 343 records. So I'll just go with that. What the heck? I'm going to make that my only driver. Of course, I'm going to have that name, address. You will see some phone numbers on this. Obviously, not nearly as many landlines as there used to be, so not as many phone numbers. I get this question. Do you know how many of these might be cell numbers? I have no idea, because we're not asking if it's cell or land. What I want to show you is this charts feature, because this can be very valuable. Let me select that. And the very first thing is it's going to do is it's going to break these records down based on estimated home value. So that's what these categories are reflective of. I'm going to switch this up to income. And again, because I want to be able to identify perhaps those individuals that I may or may not want to market to based on those income ranges. So you can make some determinations based on that. So we've got, let's say that we're going to kind of go with middle of the road, and we're going to do 80 to 89. We'll do this 100 to 124, and we'll do one more. We'll do this 125 to 149. So I'm going to go back to my results, but do note I can print this off or make this part of a PowerPoint presentation. So if part of your process with SCORE requires you to be putting that business plan together and you need to show some justification for your business, you can obviously include this and make that a part of that. Is that something that you would have your mentees do, Shauna?
I think that's a great idea. It's always a question about, who is your target audience and are they here? Are they
Right.
physically, or can you reach them? So that's a great way to come up with that tool. And to kind of expand on that, if somebody were to go for funding, that's a question that a bank or an investor is going to ask as well. So that is a great tool, because that you can point right back to the data.
Exactly. And we are looking at just one area, right? We could be looking at many more areas. I just picked that one zip code. So these numbers would be going up significantly if I were to include additional locations. The other tool that I want to point out, and again, this is available in many of the modules as well, is this heat map. So it's a density map. When you select this, it takes all of that data and it places it on the map. Oh my goodness, Shauna, remember I said that it was working earlier today? It's decided not to work. It's not giving me the map background. I should see Arlington Heights right here. Oh, I guess I will have to break down and get that new
Yeah.
computer, because that's
I'm
not.
gonna, you know what, can I interrupt you here for a
You
second?
bet.
Because Ryan and I are looking at the chats and the Q&As that are coming through. And I think a question that we keep seeing, and I think would be best if you address, is where does all this data come from?
So, like I said, on the consumer side, we're getting that from surveys that people have completed, voter rolls. We're getting it from USPS, right? That postal service. We're getting it from memberships that people have joined, credit card processors. So I was not in this database when I first moved back into Omaha, but I fell into the database as a result of all the shopping I was doing for my dog's sensitive stomach at Petco. Within a couple of months, I showed up in the database as a dog lover because I was spending buku dollars on Wyatt. His name was Wyatt. So that's how we're capturing that data. And then we go through this every month where we try and marry the data against the address, right? What's happening with these purchases, this activity at that address. So, and obviously we're looking at all of these data elements, and this particular module goes through a complete rebuild each and every month. It's a lot of processing that occurs. That's why we only update this universe monthly, because there's a lot of elements that have to go into this. You'll notice that we also have this consumer snapshot data, and I'm afraid my map may not be cooperating either. I'll have to check that in a second. I can't avoid that. Let me show you. I want to be able to get more records. So I'm going to go back here to show more options, and I'm just going to do all. That's going to give me again, a much larger number here. And I'm going to pull in. So you've seen what these records look like we'll go with Robert here. I have that name, address, information there in Arlington Heights. Now, we've not seen enough information here regarding a marital status to make a call there. Been in this home for about 29 years. There's that census information that we're getting, and that's what allows us then to overlay these estimates that are being made based on when that census was last done. And then here are those lifestyle categories. So what I want you to walk away with and understand here is the reason he came in was because of this general health and exercise and fitness, right? That all three of those were linked together, at least initially. So no dogs here, not a dog lover. So the reason those came in is because of that. But please understand this. We could go back and we could do another search, let's say for gourmet food and wine. This record, just because you see that there, doesn't mean that they're automatically going to show up in that search, because they may not be in a 6 to 9. So just because that's displayed there doesn't automatically make them a 6 to 9 candidate. Doesn't. So then we've got that neighborhood information, of course, all this lifestyle, and then this final section with consumer snapshot data. So everything from age all the way down to veteran present. What I want to point out is this entire section is also queryable when I'm back on the advanced search page. So let me go back here for a moment. And I'm going to revise that. It's all right here. So there's that consumer snapshot. I'm going to add 3 things. I'm going to grab age, marital status, and presence of children. I'll just grab some age ranges here. I'll say married. So Robert is not going to show up now because I've asked for married, right? And we didn't have enough information on him. And then, of course, presence of children. So what's that going to do to my total now that I've added these 3 additional elements? 440 results now that are inclusive of these 3 as well. So I can then view those results. But notice I no longer see physical records. I get this call a lot. Bill, I think I've broken the database because it's not showing me records anymore. And I'll ask, are you in the consumer lifestyles database? Well, yeah, how'd you know that? Well, are you seeing a chart option or a matrix or a table? My God, are you looking at my computer? No, but I know that you selected something from the consumer snapshot section. And because of that, that data is considered sensitive. So you can't use that other than putting it in a chart, a matrix, or a table. So I could say, you know what? Give me those ages. I know I only asked for married people with children. So those 2 I really don't care about because that's what's made up this universe to begin with. But I would like to see those income numbers, and I'll do that against the zip code. So I'll show that summary, and this is the information that you would obtain. So you'd get those breakdowns related to those income numbers, those age ranges. Obviously, we know they're only in 1 zip code. If we had more than 1 zip code, of course, they would be displayed as well. And then how many records apply to each of these ranges. So know that if you select anything from that consumer snapshot section, the actual records no longer appear. And that's anything from this section. But as soon as that is taken off of the plate, obviously it all shows again. So just be aware of that. It's that way with all the libraries. Any questions specific to this? Because I do want to show the information related to the business database.
There were a couple of questions, Bill, that people have asked a couple times. Is there a
Okay.
way to get email addresses for people from these lists? And then when you download the list, do you need to have an account, or is that something you can do without making an account?
Yep, you don't have to have an account. You're referring to the personal account. Nope, that's just a convenience that you can choose to use so that you don't have to rebuild your search every time you want to come into that, if that were a search you wanted to come back to. So that's why we created that personal account. As it relates to emails, it notes here 3,466, 798 with email addresses, and then it does give you that magic more information. So when you select that, it's going to drive you here, and it's going to tell you that there's two ways that we do that. We can either do the entire email campaign on your behalf. You would hire us to do that, obviously, or you can purchase the emails for 1 year's rental and then use those. With consumer data, we need to be apprised of the intended use for those email addresses. We're very particular about that. So email addresses are for sale, not available in the database. And as you can imagine, with libraries that have access to this across the country, if we had Robert's email address in there, Robert would be changing that email address overnight, right? Because he all of a sudden his email box is going to blow up with stuff that he had no interest in. So they can be purchased. And that is a webinar that we offer, wink, wink, nod, nod. So if you'd like to attend that, it's just a half-hour webinar. So it's really simple. That would go into some of the pricing, etc. So we do have certainly email addresses for consumers as well as businesses. Other questions? You mentioned a couple, Ryan. Or were they both about email addresses?
I think that's it for the lifestyle section. So I think you should
Okay.
move on to the business section next.
Absolutely. We're moving along. And as Shauna was sharing the need for data, it doesn't matter what kind of industry you might be in, everybody needs data, right? I can remember when I first moved to Omaha, I worked for a company that sold a dental product that was an add-on. So what your insurance didn't pick up, they would pick up a certain percentage of that was left out of your pocket. And we sold that to the dentist's office first and foremost, right? We needed a network of dentists. So we sold them that with data about how many customers we had that own that file, that own that access to that dental program. Well, that data helps swing you, if you will, those dentists into joining our network. So it was a win-win for not only the consumer, but also the dentist if the dentist is looking to build their practice. So it doesn't matter what industry you're in. When I first started with the company in 08, we were not only could I sell to libraries, and at that time I could sell to libraries, I could sell to government agencies, and I could sell to academic institutions. I had 3 states. I had Alabama, Mississippi, and Tennessee. So we were also able to sell to large companies. So I started doing some digging in our software system that housed all of our sales stuff. And I found a very large company using the business database called AutoZone. You may well be aware of AutoZone. So I started calling AutoZone, and I was trying to get into their marketing department. I ended up getting a call back, but it wasn't from marketing. It was from an analytics team that was looking for data about neighborhoods and the demographics in those neighborhoods, both businesses and consumers, of some of their locations. They wanted to test our data against how many competitors they had in those same areas and what were the demographics of those individuals that lived in those areas, because they weren't necessarily going to put an AutoZone dealer, an AutoZone location next to a Cadillac dealership, right? Wrong demographic. So they used our data in order to get that competitor information. So just like I showed you before, we'll always come to this quick search. Now, I could look up any single business if I'd like to. I could look up an executive. I could look at all businesses within any given city or state. I could even, let's do this real quick. I'll just show you the power of this. So I'm going to do Chicago, obviously a large community. I'll say Illinois here. Where'd you go? There you are. So I'm going to view those results. These are only going to be my verified records. We have 3 file types. It only shows my verified when I'm in quick search, of which there are 130, almost 139,000 businesses across Chicago. That tool, our charts tool, I want to introduce this again because it's going to break these businesses down by type of business. So we do have the standard industry classification code. Every business or nonprofit has one. We also have the NAICS codes. Those technically, as far as the federal government is concerned, have replaced the SIC codes. We've made these more granular when we started using them. So we took them from a 4-digit maximum length code to a 6-digit minimum maximum of 9. So we can get very granular with this information. NAICS codes are certainly appropriate, and oftentimes it might be included in paperwork that you need to submit. We have both codes in all of our records. I could switch this up to the zip codes across Chicago, and I could learn what zip codes hold the most types of businesses. I could look at it from a sales volume standpoint. So if I want to understand, and this is a great example here. So 31,000 of those 84,000 businesses, or 37.5% nearly, are in that less than $500,000 range. Obviously, the next largest group is that 5 to 1 million, etc. So we'll always give you that kind of breakdown. Again, you can print this off. You can make that part of a PowerPoint. Maybe your business requires, or you would like to be able to look at it from this standpoint, being able to work with companies based on size. So you can get that kind of data as well. Here at nearly 60% are those businesses that employ 1 to 4 employees. Now, a certain makeup of this group are going to be doctors and dentists because they're all 1099 guys and gals. And the same thing would be true with attorneys. So you have to kind of bear that in mind too. But we'll always give you this kind of breakdown if you would like it. I'm going to go back to these SIC codes real quickly because I want you to understand we'll always present this top 7 SIC codes. There are those physicians and surgeons, a lot of them around, a lot of learning institutions that are related to the medical fields. In second place, I like this. In second place are all those restaurants, followed by attorneys, dentists, nurse practitioners. Notice we do have records for mailing and shipping kiosks, as well as counselors in that 7th position. We don't stop there, though. We will give you a full report. Notice it's 189 pages in length. We give you all of those primary SIC codes that those businesses are under. And I want to stress this. Think about Walmart for a minute. Their primary line of business is that of a department store. And then we're going to have listings, secondary SIC code listings for those other departments, automotive, pharmacy, etc. So know that we're always going to give you the primary, the description for that, and then the number of records that apply. So if I wanted to get into this real estate group, I could just click on that 1800 and get right there. So it will take you right to that audience group. And then you can start, if that were a group that you were interested in, you could start working within that group. So know you can move around when you're in this charts universe as well. I'm going to go back to those results and I'm going to revise this. We got to all of this data by simply doing a city and state lookup. You can do so much more once you're in advanced search. So we give you a number of filters here. I would tell you that in most cases, you're probably going to use as few as 2 or 3 filters, and maybe on the high end, 4 to 6 filters. So it's not like you need to select all of these various filters in order to get the job done. You do not. So I was sharing with you some information about AutoZone. There's a couple of ways I could look for AutoZone. I could first of all do a company name search. If I just wanted AutoZone, or I wanted O'Charlie, or I wanted one of the other ones, I could simply type that name in there and be able, and the reason you might want to do this is you may want to use what you find for their primary SIC code. You may want to identify that number and then use that number to find a larger group of businesses just like AutoZone. So I could simply add that to the mix here, and then I can put in my geography or not. I don't have to put in a geography. If I'm just looking for that SIC code that AutoZone falls under, oh, look at, we've got a few AutoZones around the country. So it doesn't matter. I want to grab one piece of information, and that's their SIC code. So I'll go into this AutoZone. We're going to cool off. We're going to Anchorage. I don't know that it might be warm there for all I know. And this is the only thing I want. I want this SIC code. There's their primary SIC code. So that's going to be the same code that O'Charlie's would use, that Advanced Auto Parts would use. It doesn't matter. They're all going to be under that same code. By the way, I've already written this down, so I'm going to get back and I'm going to revise my search. So I can do a keyword /SIC/NAICS code. I'll get rid of the company name here. And I could search for automotive part stores if I wanted to, or if I know that SIC code, I could key that in here, and I do. It's a 553111, and I can hit search. The system will go out and find that. There it is. I can add that to the selected field, and then it's a matter of selecting whatever geography I'm interested in that area. And it will pull up all of those businesses. Since we were in the Windy City, we'll just stay there. And go. So just put in the city. Don't type in the state abbreviation. Just put in the city, hit go, and then it will come up with all of the possibilities. So there's my Chicago, Illinois. If that's all I need, I can update my count. Now I have some 312 of those kinds of businesses that are in the Chicago proper, right? So I can get to that particular group, and I can see those businesses now by name. There's Advanced and some of those others that you might be familiar with. So each and every record is going to be set up just like this. It will give you that business address information. In this case, we have their website, the social links that they use. We do have access to their corporate tree here as well. The up arrow will take you to one record, and that'll be either the subsidiary that's responsible for all of these, or if there weren't a subsidiary, it would take you to the ultimate parent. This will show you their entire breakdown, and I'll show you that here in a second. So there's their entire list of all of those various codes that they also fall under. There's a business description in this case for Advanced Auto Parts. We have the latitude and longitude embedded in the background. So we do have a map here that you could deploy and use. And it will show you, obviously, now that map worked. Thank you, map, for working. So it shows you where that particular location is at there in Chicago. Now, this is a great one. So we last updated them. We update these guys annually. When we contacted them in November of 23, they did not answer that question that we always ask about how many employees do you have? And the reason I know they didn't answer that is because we have a range there. If they would have answered the question, we would have had a single number in there. Might be 11, or it might be 15, or it might be 19, whatever. But they did not answer that question. So what we do then when that happens, and it happens, this is an example of it, when that happens, we go back to this primary SIC code and we look at their peers in that area, and we'll assign then that appropriate range. So that is valuable information for us. And it's valuable for a few reasons. Number one, for you to be able to use the database, but it also goes into the model that we use for the sales information. So we learned a long time ago, you don't ask a private company. Now they are a publicly traded company, so we're getting this information from their 10K. But if this were a private company, this would always be modeled. And we're using how long they've been in business, what line and lines of business are they in. We know that they have several lines of business. We're getting that information, including that in that algorithm. We're also looking at the, so we've got age, number of employees, that line of business, where they're physically located, because we want to be able to also take into consideration taxes are going to be different in different parts of the country, right? So we build that in, and then we also get information through the Bureau of Labor Statistics in order to finalize that. So if it's a private company, we know this one's public, but if this were a private company, that would be a modeled number. We know, obviously, it's Advanced Auto Parts Inc. is the parent in this case, have some hours of operation, have that management information. We have company news here. I remember being in here on a different record a while back, and it was an article about the fact, I remember that. There was a bad thing that happened there. There was an article about the fact that Dunkin' Donuts was being obtained by another company out of Atlanta and was going to be a part of their network. So you can gain a lot of insights through that company news. We're not going to have stock data on a branch, and that's what this is. Have some of those business expenditures. So we've had this record a while here, and it dates back in our historical information. So as soon as we have, so this business was updated in November of 23. In December of 23, it also became a historical record. So as soon as November gets here again, I don't want that to happen anytime real soon, we will then pull this into the 24 historical information as well. So the database does allow you to link to that historical information. And if I wanted to look at this 2019 record, I could click on that Advanced Auto Parts name, and it will take me to that particular record. There is a scale here, and this is active. So if I wanted to go back even a little bit further in time, I could certainly do so. Just depends on what I might need. I can always get back to that original record. And then I'm going to have 3 additional sections. Any UCC filing. So if they've taken a loan out and put something up as collateral, that information would be captured there. In this case, there is none. I would also have nearby businesses, again, because of that lat long that we have in the background. And then, of course, some competitors. So each of those are going to be set up just like that. Gosh, I didn't know that there were any Western auto parts stores still around. So just depends, can be some great insight that you can get to all within this one record. And by the way, anyone can suggest an update to a record, and that can be done on both the business or consumer information, and it's through this data feedback button. I was in a presentation out in New Jersey late last year, and there was a business owner. We looked up their business, and we did not have the number of employees. And at the time we would have verified that record, he only had 1 employee, and it said 1 to 4 here. But he'd since hired another employee. So there were actually 2. So we identified that and put that number 2 in there. And then the other thing that was missing was his information, his name. He never provided that as the owner or manager. In this case, he was the owner. So we did obviously capture that and put that in there. And then as you can see, you would fill out this information, submit it to us. We'll send a response back to you immediately, thanking you for that information. And as it notes, it's going to be sent off to these researchers, and they'll get back to you within 24 to 48 hours and let you know what we did in terms of taking care of that update. Now, if when we call them, they say, oh, no, I don't have 2 employees. I only have 1. Me. Well, then we're going to leave it at 1, right? We're not going to put it at 2. So it all depends on what might be provided to us. I know I was same trip out in New Jersey. I did a program for a Chamber of Commerce, and we pulled up the Chamber's office record, and the person that was listed there as that primary contact was the second in command. So the gentleman that was in the audience, who is the president of the chamber, said, Bill, where'd you get this information? I said, we got it from Bob. He goes, change it. That's me. So and then he said afterwards, he said, I could see Bob doing that. So Bob was just trying to save him some work. So I can always update records too, or you can update. Let's do this. I'm
gonna jump in here because we're running a little short on time, and I know you could go on forever.
I could. I started at 4:30 this morning, and I'm ready to keep going.
I have no doubt. But what I think that is important to leave with people is that this is probably just the tip of the iceberg.
Oh, it's amazing what you can do.
Yes. And so I want to hit up on a couple of points, and I know Ryan will probably chime in with a couple of questions as well. But a few kind of general questions. One is, you had kind of mentioned there's webinars available. So on that screen right there, I see webinars at the top. These are on demand. These are data axle. These are, click on there while you're on this site and you will find them. Is that correct? Is that fair to say?
You will find the listing, and then you register based on which of these you'd like to attend. So there's one for getting started using the database. You register for that. That's on a Monday or a Wednesday. We have this guy that's also available on a Monday or a Wednesday. Obviously, entrepreneurship. We have one for librarians, and we have that one for how do I purchase those email addresses?
Yeah. And that was another question that came up. So that's good that you point that out, that go right there and people can look into that. I also want to strongly encourage people to use your business librarian, whether it's, Wilmette, Glenview, Skokie, or whatever your library is. Go in there and talk to them. They know about this. And if they don't, they will figure it out for you. They are amazing people. Ryan, if you're seeing any other kind of questions we should address now, please chime in. I only scanned them, and I know you've been looking carefully at them, and I appreciate that. I can't emphasize enough that this, again, the tip of the iceberg, but hopefully you got a good sense for there's a lot of data out there. It's at your fingertips. It's just knowing where to look for it and knowing how to get to it and knowing what to do with it once you do have it. Those are the pieces we wanted to leave you with. So Ryan, are you seeing anything that we should have Bill address?
Yeah, there's a couple of quick questions I feel
Okay.
like. When it comes to the businesses, do they also have email addresses that you would pay for or be able to get
Yep,
access to? Same as
exactly.
for the
Those are
lifestyles.
purchasable just like lifestyles. Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
And then somebody asked for the source of where the business name comes from because they wanted to
Yeah.
cross-check it somewhere else.
Yep. So just like when we started in 1972, we're still getting some of that information from phone books. We get those sent to us digitally nowadays. We bump it up against our current database. Anything that's a duplicate gets rejected. Anything that's truly new gets added. And then we start that calling campaign all over again. So we're doing that every year, going through that process. But we'll get them also from Secretary of State's offices. So when we get them from the Secretary of State's office, they're placed in this particular module. This is kind of our staging area, not nearly as detailed of information, but this is where we then place those new businesses. We call them, get them verified. If we find out the name, they may have registered their business as Smith and Jones LLC, but they're actually going to call it S&J Restaurant, right? So we might learn that they're actually calling the business something other than what it was registered as. Uh, and so we'll learn that and we'll update that and give them a full record here.
Perfect.
Thank
Perfect.
you. And I had a one other follow-up question. Oh, do you, is there any information on pricing for email lists, or is that depending upon how many are on the list?
It
Or
is dependent on how many are in the list. I can tell you, let me see if I can get over to another screen. And is this what I think this is it? Let me make certain that I am so good. Because usually it's not this smooth, right? Let me pull this across. So this gives you an idea on if you want to purchase these or rent them for the year, these are the costs. So the minimum order is anywhere from one email address all the way up to just shy of 5,000. Is that $775? Now, on the consumer side, obviously, I've got a similar minimum that needs to be met. And then once you've met that minimum, obviously, the more emails the more emails there are, you can see how those prices evolve. Great question.
Okay, good to know. A couple questions came in too about the library piece of this. Can I access this from home? How do I find out if my library has it?
You know,
Um,
you could call your library and ask them if they have data axle reference solutions. Uh, you could also contact us. Our number is here everywhere. So you could feel free to reach out to us, send us an email. We'll look, you would provide us the city and state that you're in, and we'll look and get back to you on what that is. You can see our hours of operation listed there as well. So we can help you with that too.
Yeah, I will also mention on behalf of the libraries that I do know. So, for example, for Wilmette, I will use that as an example, and I think this is pretty consistent. If I am not a Wilmette resident, I do not have a Wilmette library card. However, if I walk into the Wilmette library, I can use this at the library. Even though I'm not a resident, even though I am not a library card holder. However, if I am a library card holder, I can access it remotely. And Ryan, forgive me if I'm misspeaking here, but that is my understanding in general of how that works.
That is correct. Many databases that libraries subscribe to are open to everybody in the library for the most part, and then remotely, if you are a card holder with that library, yes, you can get access to it remotely. So Reference Solutions, DataAxo will be one of those. So if you're a Glenview Library card holder, you can use that tool at home.
And I would
Perfect.
emphasize when you're looking for us in the library, find a heading like research, or sometimes we're under e-resources. It might be under available databases, right? So in this case with Wilmette, we're under this, come here, you,
To be research business,
research business, but I went here to all
that
resources
works too.
because I like the alphabet. So we're under the R, could sometimes be placed under D because of the data axle part. But in this case, Wilmette has us under the letter R right there, reference solutions. We used to
And
be
I will
called
just
Research USA.
another plug for the librarians. Ask the librarians. Don't spend 20 minutes trying to figure it out on your own. Walk in or call in and ask them, do you have this? Do you have something similar? Where do I find it? How do I use it? Hey, I remember Bill said this amazing thing about finding out about AutoZone, but I cannot remember the keystrokes. Ryan, his colleagues at the libraries, more than happy to help you or find the person to help you.
Exactly. We are here to help. It's not a bother asking us a question, so never feel like it is. Please call us, please come to the desk, and we will be happy to answer your questions.
Exactly. Okay, Ryan, were there any other questions that you wanted us to address here?
Not that I think we answered all of them that I have
Yeah.
found. If I missed your question, you type it in again real quick, maybe we can catch it, but I think I got to all of them.
Yeah, and I think there were a few questions out there about specifically how do I find this type of business? I think you've addressed all of that, Bill. Again, reach out to the library and they can help you get through that. And also, as Bill mentioned, DataAxle has got resources as well. So either one of those. One final plug for SCORE, get a mentor. They can also help you navigate what you need to find, what would be helpful to find, resources that are out there. Thank all of you. Thanks to the presenters. Bill, you did an amazing job. Ryan, I thank you for moderating here. That was wonderful. I truly appreciate all of you showing up tonight and listening to this. One last reminder that we will send out a link to this recording in a few days. Give us a couple days to get it up on our YouTube site. We'll send that out. We'll send a copy of the slides. I had some links in there in case you want those. We'll send a copy of those. Any last minute comments? Bill, Ryan?
Go
I
ahead,
have
Bill.
one for Ryan. Ryan, I'm going to be out your way in May. Would love to, if you would like to do something at the library. I know Wilmette's looking at it as well. I'd be happy to come and do something for the library, whether that's with staff and or patrons.
Yeah, and I think this is a fantastic resource, obviously, with a lot more that it can do than what you're able to cover in a short
Yeah,
period of time.
right.
So we'll definitely look
Yes.
into that for sure.
Okay. Okay. Very good.
I did see one last
Right.
question in there for just for you, Shauna. If somebody uses your mentor service once, can they do it again?
Oh my gosh, you can do it once, you can do it 100 times. It is truly up to the client. It's truly up to what you need. And we've seen everything. So you might have 2 questions that we can knock out in 30 minutes. Perfect. Or you may say, okay, that was only the tip of the iceberg, like it was today with Bill's information. And then we will set up meetings to follow up for as long as you need. There's no limit to that.
Excellent.
All
I
right.
think I see all the questions that I've been able to spot.
Thank you. Thanks to all the participants. Thanks to the presenters. Truly appreciate it. Have a wonderful rest of your evening.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. You as well. Goodbye.